Matt Brown, Extra Points, put out a graphic yesterday evening. The last time these programs were ranked number one in the country in college football. Now let's go to the first one. Michigan, of course, like 5 or 6 days ago. And then Georgia and Alabama. Clemson, it's been now 3.5, almost 3.5 plus years. Now look down the list of those. Let's go to under 2010. Florida, 2009. Texas, the year 2008, that's the year the trifecta with Oklahoma, Texas Tech, and Texas in the BCS where Oklahoma got in the championship game. Missouri, 2007. Was that Chase Daniel, or was that even after Chase Daniel?
That's probably, 2007 been Chase Daniel.
Miami. That the year they won the national title with the 2001 great team?
That would have been the year after. When they lost.
No, that's right, because that's in December, so that's before any kind of a championship game.
So that would have been the year they lost to Ohio State on what was the worst pass interference call ever.
Oh, that's right. I remember that game.
Non-call. Sorry,
Non-call. Yeah. Nebraska, that was before they played Oklahoma the year OU rose from the ashes to win the national title and lost to OU. That was the last time Nebraska was ranked number one. Then there's Tennessee, and you can Penn State, Washington the year after they won the national title. No, maybe the year where they won the national title. Colorado, that same run where Colorado was with Darian Hagan and McCartney was the head coach. Virginia, I didn't know. I didn't realize. 1990, then UCLA, Iowa. And there's a lot of teams now in the 80s, as you can see, that continues to go back all the way. TCU in 1938, A&M in 1957. That's a long time ago. Arkansas, did not realize it had been that long ago in 1965. That might have been either the year or the year after when Jerry Jones and Jimmy Johnson in Arkansas and that Frank Broyles team won the national title in that time. Michigan State, that was Bubba Smith. They actually tied, I think, Notre Dame 10-10. Notre Dame ended up winning the national championship. Pitt, 82, maybe with Jacob Green. Sure if Marino was on that team or not, but there are some of the teams. If you have a favorite team, there's the list. Those teams have been ranked number one and how long it's been since they were.
A&M was 1957. Bear Bryant was there.
Did they claim a national title for that one?
They that one maybe they kind of tried to
the earlier one.
But yeah. That like one of the ones where they might have but they did lose a game, and then there are only like 3 bowl games back then or 4. So
grip that up one more time, Garrett. BYU, the year they won the national title was in 1985. That's how early they were able to decide that. When the national championship games or whatever were usually on January 1st or a day before.
That's cool. As an Oklahoma fan, I mean, it seems like it's not been 10 years since they were number one, but
or 13 or 13.
I mean,
12
10 plus years since they were number one. But that's, I guess, been the case. Hadn't crossed my mind really, but it's interesting to see that way. I mean, Texas, that's been a very long time, and you don't need to read through all of them, but that's just interesting to look at, and it's been a lot longer, I think, for some than I probably realized. Nebraska since 2000. I mean, that's over 20 years ago. So that's crazy. But when you've had, I don't know, a handful of teams have had strangleholds on number one. I mean, how many of those weeks since just 2000 or 2000 whatever were Alabama, on top of that poll, and these last couple of years with Georgia. So you've had some dynasties that have like grabbed onto that and held on to that for a while in various parts. But this goes way, way back. So that doesn't account for, all these ones that are back in the 50s and 60s and 70s and 80s and all that. So it's been a long time for a lot of schools to be on that mountaintop. And it shows you how hard it is.
Yeah, Michigan won it recently. Georgia's won 2. Alabama's won a lot. LSU, of course, Clemson had their run. LSU with Joe Burrow. And that's it. It's been one of those teams, but it's been ranked number one, most likely usually Alabama or Georgia lately, and that's it. And then before that, 2015 with Ohio State that has not been ranked number one even since that year.
Yeah, it's surprising it's taken them that long, but then again, all those schools above them have all dominated. So they really get past Florida State, and that's where you finally get to somebody who hasn't won a title in the last 20 years, and that was the the year that Mississippi, like had their magical moment, and Mississippi State was there briefly on top of the polls. But
who was their quarterback? You remember? Dak Prescott, I think, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Yes.
I guess it would have. Yeah, I guess it would have been. Yeah, it didn't seem like that was that long ago.
Yep.
The whole Mississippi. Remember the Sports Illustrated cover, and they were both really good. And that just doesn't seem like that was 2014. But yeah, I mean, they obviously didn't turn that into a natty. Notre Dame hasn't won a natty in forever. Oregon, that's their missing piece, and. Yeah, so that little cluster there of teams that have sniffed it but weren't able to take it to the very top is interesting to look at. But, yeah, I mean, those are all the top dogs right there at the top, and then you get past that little group I mentioned, and there's USC who was a part of it, and Oklahoma kicked off the 2000s, and Auburn and Florida and Texas have all won them. So, yeah, not surprised that they're all kind of clustered there near the top. But those outliers are interesting to look at. The Notre Dame, Oregon, Mississippi State, Missouri. Those who haven't won titles in a long time.
Yeah, when I looked at that list, I realized, it's hard to be number one. It is hard, and that's obviously with the cluster of teams that have dominated in the last 4 years.
Well, look, and this grid only takes up 2 rows of a thing of all the
whole
teams that
time,
call for the whole.
Well, look back to 1938, the last one.
Yeah.
I think that's when they may have started the AP poll.
Yeah, absolutely. So since World War II, only this many teams have been able to do that. And, so that's how hard it is. The only solace I take in this graphic is that Florida State's last date is well past Miami and Florida's.
Yeah, that's a nice blue ribbon. It's not a crystal football, though, or
No.
the lipstick that they have nowadays, the big gold lipstick tube that replaced the crystal football.
Yeah.
But it's a cool blue ribbon, though.
Yeah, no, it is. Clemson is obviously past Florida State, but still, you take the good with the bad.
Yep, so there's that. Now, the NFL